target. Maximum firepower.
Brace for impact!
Welcome to the Brace for Impact podcast. In this episode, we will review our first Clone Wars battle report between the Galactic Republic and the Separatists, as well as review the new 1.5 rules changes for Armada. So the first battle report was the Wolf Pack versus Separation Anxiety. What did you think of this match?
I thought this match was like, well, first it was like the first Clone Wars match that we've done, so it was awesome.
It was, but also the Squadrons were still unpainted because they literally took them out of the boxes and started going to town.
It really made me want to vomit. It's going to take me a while to paint all the Squadrons. There's so many Squadrons, at least for Separatists, that you can run. Like when I was putting this list together, I was like, I still have room for 5 Vultures?
Oh, I was like, they have the same number of Squadrons, but what you mean is the Separatist Squadrons are cheaper, therefore more physical models can be on the table.
Not really cheaper. They're about the same as TIE fighters. What I'm saying is that while I'm list building, I was trying to go for MSU. I had 4 hard cells and a munificent, and I didn't have enough points for a 5th hard cell, but I had enough for 5 vultures. So there was a certain point where I couldn't add any more ships, but there was still a significant amount of points that I couldn't really fill up with upgrade cards.
Right.
You know, because my munificent was fully kitted out, and I had TRC on the hard cells, and that's an expensive upgrade. And there wasn't really like any officers that I thought that would be good to spam on those. So I was like, I've got all these points, but I can't it was like 47 points or something. It was like a lot of points where I was like, I can't add another ship. Like, I guess I'll just take 5 vultures,
Yeah.
So it was weird. It felt like it was designed in such a way to where you can get a certain amount of ships, and then after that is like you hit this stopping point where there's extra space for your vultures. You know what I mean?
I think part of that is the limited number of ships. Once you start getting 6 or 7 different types of ships at different point cost values, the math gets a lot more flexible in terms of, okay, maybe I can't fit a hard cell, but I can fit this, or I can't fit a munificent, but I can fit that.
Maybe like once flotillas get in there, and you can I'll add 2 flotillas instead of some squadrons.
Maybe not even flotillas, but 5 hard cells and a future large base ship for the Separatists might leave you with no points left for Squadrons.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, what did you think of this match?
I really liked the way my list performed. Because I was going in, I was like, I'm all in on dice fixing. I'm just gonna roll whatever stock dice there are, and I'm gonna put them all to damage, and I'm just gonna overwhelm the defense tokens. I'm not gonna accuracy anything unless there's a really good point where that might help me. And I'm just gonna use the hard cells. I'm gonna TRC on, if I have a double arc, I'm gonna TRC on one attack, and then on the other attack, I'm gonna Kraken, just so I have flush damage for all my shots.
Yep.
And I was able to do pretty much that. And
yep.
I thought it felt really good. Hard cells were kind of bulky. They didn't just get completely smashed like normal Corvette sized ships. That brace, redirect, evade, it seems like it makes them feel pretty reliable. I liked the usage of Flag Bridge on this list, because I don't know if anybody hasn't watched it. You can watch it on our YouTube channel. But for the comms, I used a munificent comms frigate, not the assault frigate. And I put Flag Bridge and Intensify Firepower for more dice fixing. So in one shot, I can crack in a dice to crit, and then Flag Bridge and accuracy to a hit, and get 3 damage. TRC, and it felt really good. It felt exactly the way I pictured it. The only thing is you took second player, which like wasn't really what I wanted. It kind of screwed with my vibe. I wanted like the control of the objectives, because my objectives, I don't know if we talked about it, but mine was
No.
opening salvo, abandoned mining facility, and minefields.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, yeah,
I would have really
mean,
liked to have had second player.
that's why I took it. I felt like you wanted it.
Yeah. Seems like you always do that.
Yeah, if I have a strength in this game, I guess it's everything that happens before turn one. You know, I feel like I'm able to determine what my opponent's list wants to do. And like I knew you wanted to do that. My mistake, I think, was part of it was I overestimated the durability of the acclimator.
Yeah.
And part of it was my list that I built was really rough. And I just kind of threw it together to get a game going.
Yeah, I think that was another thing that kind of hurt you, because you were like waiting on like getting the stuff in hand to build a list so that you could like experience it all at once. But once Ryan Kingston had cards on its website, I was crunching lists, and I had like a week and a half ahead of you on that.
Right, for sure.
So I had a full list, fully like synchronized together on what I wanted to do, and I had an idea on how to get that done. And I think before we started, you were like, "All right, hold on, let me make my list now."
Right.
And I think that really hurt.
Yeah, for sure. My list was like, I want to have all of the new things at once. You know, I want to have swivel mount batteries. I want to have one of each acclimator. I want to have radiant. Like I had every single title, right? I had 4 ship, all the titles, you know, like, and some squadrons. Like it didn't really know what it wanted to do. It wanted to do everything because I wanted to see how each upgrade that came out worked. How does clone gunners work? How does munitions resupply work? You know, how does bail work? That kind of stuff. Yeah, so it was kind of just a very experimental game for me, but it was a lot of fun playing with all the new ships. If you guys don't have any Clone Wars stuff, you should definitely get it.
Oh, it's so good. What did you think on some of the stuff that you flew, like the title ships in specific?
You know, I thought I would really, really like Implacable, but I didn't realize, and it may just be the list that I was flying against. But the range restriction of distance 1 to 2 on top of only being in like a once a turn exhaust. Is it 1 to 2?
I thought it was 1 to 3.
It's 1 to 2.
Whoa! Hold up. It's 1 to 2. Oh my god, that's so small.
Right. So it was so small that like I could have 2 acclimators side by side, and if one moves forward speed 3,
that's not in range anymore. Yeah.
It's not in 1 to 2 anymore. So you can just attack it and so it, you know, they can't like you can't go that fast if you want to use Implacable basically, because your opponent can attack the other ship in between the 2 activations, right?
Yeah.
And so that kind of like messed with me a lot. On top of that, it's an exhaust, so it's actually only 1 time a turn that you can move 2 damage. And your list had 5 hard cells with TRC. So moving 2 damage off of 1 shot is fine. But when there's lots of shots coming, it's not that great. It's better against like, you know, an ISD comes in, rolls 8 damage, your main ship braces and redirects with Obi-Wan and Expert Shield Text, right? So the 8 damage goes to 4, Obi-Wan and Expert Shield Text makes it 2, and then Implacable takes the other 2, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, boom, like I really did something here. But when you take 5, 2, or 3 dice shots,
doesn't really help as much.
It doesn't matter that much. It, like you said, it overwhelms defense tokens. It makes cards like Implacable not very good. It you know, MSU is very strong. The downside is as things die, you proportionally lose damage and activations, whereas a large ship does full damage until it dies, right?
Yeah.
And then I think with the nail in the coffin for me was when your Munificent popped an engineering command when it had 1 health left and recovered 5 damage cards, and I was like, I lost this game.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah. that combo with Wat Tambor and Battle Droid Reserves is gnarly, and it feels so good to just you just tilt Battle Droid Reserves over, and then you flip all the crew cards down, and I just scooped them. You just scoop them all up.
Yeah, it was pretty wild to see it in action for sure.
But yeah, I think I'm trying to figure like a reason not to take Watt and Battle Droid Reserves after playing it, because in some builds, I think the one we played after this, I had like T-Series tactical droids,
Yeah.
but literally never used them because I
Yeah.
was just choosing the commands that I wanted to do. Because I mean, the Munificent only has 2 command. Hard cells have 1 command, and so I didn't really have enough tokens to have like a variable command to use for the T-Series tactical droid. Like I
Yeah.
had engineering or squadron, and there was never really a use for the T-Series tactical droid. But like Wat Tambor is like, fuck, he's so good.
Yeah, he's so good. I did really like Bale. As much as I thought I would like him, I did like him that much.
I think Bale is just great. He's just great, especially for the acclimators. Really, for any ship, he's amazing.
Yeah, the ability to like dial in a concentrate on your 3 command ship, which the acclimator is, and also be able to nav and engineering on the same turn and make like a super turn out of your acclimator. It's really strong. It's wild.
Yeah, it was crazy to see. Like I would do a shitload of I would get the front hull zone to 0, finally after shooting it with everything, and then you activate. You're like, okay, I can concentrate. Engineering, so I'll recover 2 shields, and I'm gonna nav. Oh my god!
And I also really liked. I had Flag Bridge as well, and used it to take evasive action and get an additional yaw on my acclimators.
Yeah.
So when they were navving, like I could add 2 yaw on the final adjustable joint, and they would like swing into position.
I think take evasive action is super critical for Imperial type ships like the Acclimator and ISDs to really get guns on target, because that's what helps you win games, is just having that front arc on target more turns than not, and take evasive action really helps for that.
The last thing I'll say is I really enjoyed swivel mount batteries and clone gunners. They're great, and the combo together is also really great.
Yeah. I'll say that like anyone who's playing Separatist and Republic, like in this period where you just only have the starter sets to use, Flag Bridge is a really good option to make your fleets better, to deal with the lack of multiple officers or specialized turbo lasers to use and shit like that. It really allows your fleet to kind of even out the things that they're kind of lacking in, like the acclimators with their evasiveness and MSU separatists with the proper amount of damage that they need to do to be a threat.
Good game. You want to move on to the next section?
Next segment, yep.
All right, so in segment 2, we're going to talk about the functional changes and rules changes and design changes, I guess, in the 1.5 rules update. With the first one, we'll talk about the Chaff Tokens, which is a new type of token.
Well, the Chaff token is old. It's from the early warning system.
The Focus token is
new. The Focus token is new, yeah.
Which is on the back of the Chaff token.
Which I think is cool.
So now there's a red side and a blue side. And Focus token is used in swivel mount batteries, so you can mark which hull zone the guns are swiveled toward.
Yeah.
Which is really nice. That's basically, I think, the only card that uses it right now, but obviously, more using it in the future is probably going to happen. And I really like it. I'm glad that they're just using the back of the Chaff token. So, yeah, pretty great.
Yeah, I like it, but I don't think we'll see it in anything else. Same way that we only have the Chaff token for early warning system, I think the Focus token is just for swivel mount batteries. I don't think we'll see it for anything else, really.
All right, guys, we've laid down our stakes. We'll see who's right.
That's what I think. I do like whenever FFG expands the design space, like they did with X-Wing 2.0, and right now with all the new changes to Armada. I really like that. The more things
Yeah.
that add that kind of like expansive options into the
Mhm.
game, I really enjoy that.
The next rule we have is it's kind of small. A ship must decide whether it's spending the dial, the token, or both before resolving the command's effects. So you can't do a squadron command, activate all 3 squadrons, and then be like, okay, I'd also like to spend my squadron token now. You need to decide that all beforehand.
Yeah, and some of these sections that we're talking about, these have been rules for a while, but they haven't been in the rules document. They've been like FAQs or rules that they talked about on the forums that people just kind of knew. But now the rules document is like a living document. So anything they change, it'll always be added and in there, and it won't be missing any crucial rules like this. Because I know a mistake I've made a lot is I'll concentrate on one attack to add a dice, and then on another attack I'll use my concentrate command token to reroll, and you can't do that.
Right.
It has to be in the same period,
Attack.
the same attack, which I think is pretty cool. It's obviously not as good,
Right.
but it's good to understand that you have to decide before resolving the command's effects whether or not you want the dial or the token.
All right, I'm ready to move to one of my favorite changes.
The evade changes.
The evade buff, dude.
Oh man.
So, especially after playing with it some, basically evade now is better. In a lot of ways. Number one is that when a ship is defending against a larger size class ship, you can basically discard, you can spend it to discard it, and you can affect 2 die, basically 1 additional die with that evade token, right? So you can cancel 2 die at long range or reroll 2 at medium range or whatever. But also, they've basically said there's evade effect will work at close range now. So before it used to do nothing at close range. Now the medium effect kind of transitions into the close. So an evade can be spent at close range to reroll a dice. It can also be spent at distance 1 to 2 to reroll a dice. So if squadrons are attacking a ship, it can use evade tokens to reroll the squadron's attacks, which is amazing. It's so great to be able to actually use your token for something.
Yeah, this was like the one thing that really felt awful about running small ships is like you get to a certain range or someone comes up on you with squadrons or like any ship and you get to close range and you're like, well, now a third of my defense tokens are shut down. Like it's not even an option. Just because I'm close to you? Like what does that mean?
Right.
It means you just get shit on. And now that's not the case anymore. I also like how when the defense token is green, you can discard it to effect 2, but you can also do that when it's exhausted. When it's red, you can discard it and still effect 2. You're not required to spend it while it's green and then discard it while it's red in the same time window to effect 2. It's just instead of spending it, you discard it and it affects an additional dice, which I think is pretty cool against ships of a larger class.
Right. You know who's really happy about this?
Who? Oh, Raiders. Yeah.
Foresight. Oh, Raiders. Yes, Raiders for sure. I was going to say Foresight and Mothma.
Yeah, Mothma for sure.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Mothma loves ships with evade dice.
Yeah. Well, what was Mothma's text? She affects an additional.
When a friendly ship resolves the evade token effect, it can cancel 1 die at medium range or reroll 1 additional die at close range or distance 1.
Yeah, that's really good.
Right.
That's really good.
Her text has changed since
Just
the update, right?
It says the update, yeah. Because I didn't realize that the text had changed. But that's great. I mean...
And then you combine her with Foresight, and you're canceling 2 at medium, or you're rerolling 3 at close range.
Yeah.
And if it's a larger size class, you can discard to reroll 4 at close range.
Is that how that works?
Because it's normally 1, discard would be 2, Mothma would be 3, Foresight is 1 more. That's crazy, right?
I think that is crazy. I don't think that's how that works. Because it says when you resolve the effect, I think discarding is for the separate effect of affecting.
No, because when a ship is defending against a ship of larger size class, it's the defender can spend the token to affect an additional die. If they do, then it's discarded. It's not a discard like admonition discards tokens.
Okay. That's what I was
thinking.
Spend.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's
Foresight.
crazy.
When I roll Rebels again, I'm running a Mothma fleet with CR90s and MC30s, bro. Like, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah.
You're just gonna squad right up into your freaking front arc of your Kuat ISD and be like, reroll all those black dice, motherfucker.
Yeah, I really like this change because what I really like about Armada that's different from X-Wing is you always have some kind of response that you can do. Or at least a chance of a response. You know, like in X-Wing, you roll your green dice and you blink out. You're kind of fucked. And this, the previous rules for evade kind of felt like that. Where like, oh, you're just close now, so this thing does nothing for you. Good luck. At least you get something out of it now.
Yeah.
I really like this for Raiders too. They got double evade.
They really needed it.
And it keeps small ships just from being chewed up by squadrons just so easily.
Yeah. Yeah, the squadron defense is really nice as well.
I mean, like if someone throws like a couple bombers at you and they roll like a crit hit, you can at least, re-roll it and make it like 1 hit and no crit, something like that.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best changes for 1.5 as far as ships go.
For sure.
As far as squadrons go, the best change is coming up next.
A fleet can contain 1 unique squadron with defense tokens for each 100 points of the agreed fleet point total. What do you think about this?
This is perfect. This is just the most perfect change for squadrons that doesn't completely remove squadrons from the game like some people were hoping. But it changes it just enough to what now you have to actually think about what your squadron ball wants to do. Like, is it going to be bomber? Is it going to try and tie up some squadrons? And you can't take fucking 8 or 9 aces all with scatter, brace, or double brace, Because the biggest thing for me is, if you tie up 134 points in squadrons and, you're going up against a list with 2 ISDs, they're never going to flak that. They just can't waste the shots. Because you're either going to take a damage, scatter it, or you roll, 2 damage on your flak, and they brace it. They take 1, You just can't do enough damage. You can't dedicate enough shots to that. But if they can only have 4 aces, and they decide to take 134 points in squadrons, at least you can decide to shoot the other squadrons that don't have defense tokens and get something. Anything. Just any kind of chance to farm some points if you're in a bad position,
Right.
Because I don't know if you agree with me, but like 9 aces is hard to kill with flak from ships.
Absolutely. You would see games where it would just be a bunch of squadrons and like 1 ship left, keeping them on the board.
Yeah. Pretty insane.
Yeah, it's going to be much better to have squadrons that live mostly for a more reasonable amount of time. Like you said, less token aces.
And it really, like, I like it because it reduces the amount of abilities that are brought to a fleet.
Right.
Like, if you've got 9 aces with 9 different abilities, 9 different aura abilities, and, you know,
It's
this one does that,
chaotic,
it's so chaotic. But, like, 4, I can do 4.
right.
Like, all right, you got him. Oh, okay, I got that. I know what's going on here. It's just much better.
You want to go over some of the keyword changes for squadrons?
Yeah, there's some keywords that, like, got changed and some that got added. Like adept, I think is
Oh my god, adept is so good.
is so fucking good,
While
dude.
attacking, you may reroll up to X dice. So like a lot of Jedi have either adept 1 or adept 2. And it's just really good to roll like 3 blues and a black, and then you pick the 2 crappy ones and re-roll them. So crazy, man. I freaking love it.
Yeah, it's really, really good. Especially like when we were playing and I had the droid tri-fighter ace, and you rolled like
Yep.
2 damage, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll brace that to 1, and you're like adept 2, and you picked up the fucking 2 blues and you rolled them, and you knocked out my scatter, and then I fucking died, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's shitty.
Slurp it up, dude. Slurp up your adept. It's so good. What about AI battery and AI anti-squadron?
All right, so AI, I don't know, I really like AI battery, and I like it way more than AI anti-squadron, just because of the increase of damage percentage. Because going from 1 to 2 dies is much better than going from 3 to 4.
Right.
But I think
That's true.
careful control of your droid fighters with AI anti-squadron is super important. I tried using that hyperwave signal boost, but I don't know if that's the way to do it, because I was thinking it essentially doubles my my squadron activations. You know, at the end of the round, I can do 3 more. You know, fucking great. But the problem is getting there, and then most of the shit is dead, and I don't need to
Yeah.
use it, because then I've just got, you know, 3 activation, 3 activation. I only have 6 ships left to activate, and then I don't need hyperwave signal boost. And I think it might be better to take something like expanded hangar bay and just go with the tsunami effect. Just try and hit them all at once. You know, 5 squadrons, 5 squadrons, and then, you know, they can scrum it out in the middle of the board. I think it's a cool keyword to make separatist squadrons effectively worse, but when they're controlled by their ships better than TIE fighters, because without AI anti-squadron, they're absolute dog shit. But with them, they're functionally better than TIE fighters, because they can roll 2 black dice, so they have more consistency than the 3 blue dice. But I like it. I like it. It's really cool. What do you think about dodge?
Dodge is good, not as good as adept, but it's basically the reverse, right? When you're defending, you can choose X, whatever your dodge number is, of the attack dice to be re-rolled.
Yeah.
You know, helps you avoid. It's like I honestly think that like maybe dodge should have been what squadrons had this whole time instead of defense tokens.
I
Like
agree.
Dodge 1 or Dodge 2 or
I
something
agree,
like
yeah.
Charbay has Dodge 3, right? Like, let them re-roll it. Don't fucking give me scatters. And
Scatter is
shit.
too much, dude.
Yeah. Dodge is really cool, though. I'm excited to see Dodge and Adept on more stuff, but it seems like Jedi only right now.
Yeah, it's a Jedi only thing. Dodge and Adept are really just Jedi only.
The grit change is pretty interesting.
Well, it's not really change, more of a clarification. I think this is always how grit worked.
Yeah.
Because heavy squadrons don't prevent you from moving
while engaged.
But the way grit is worded, you are not prevented from moving while you're engaged by only 1 squadron. But you are still engaged by heavy squadrons. They just don't prevent you from moving. So if you have another squadron that doesn't have heavy, then you're essentially locked down. But I like the clarification and the addition of here.
Right. And then intel is a big change. While a friendly squadron is at distance 1 of you, it has grit. And the thing I like about this is that it emphasizes your support ship being inside of the rest of your ships,
Yeah.
inside the rest of your squadrons, as opposed to it jumping into the enemy forces, like, but also just less powerful, right? It's less powerful to give your stuff grit than to give enemy stuff heavy.
Listen, when Intel came out, we all knew it was dog shit. It's unfun. It's not a good keyword where it just gives enemy ships heavy and you can just jump through them and go right to ships. It's bullshit, in fact. And it essentially prevents any kind of like token squadron response or small squadron response. It's either 0 squadrons or 134 points of squadrons.
Right.
It's horseshit.
Because they
It's
just
a
bring an
horseshit
intel
ability.
ship and bypass all of your squadrons.
Yeah, it's like playing with that one kid who's like, oh no, actually, all my ships get to ignore your ships, and I go right to your ship, and it's dead now. There you go. And you're like, I got 60 points of TIE interceptors here. It's like, no, we ignore that. I have intel.
Right.
My one ship just jumps on all your squadrons, and now they don't exist anymore. And then you get fucked.
Right.
You get Merrick Steeled 3 times, and then you're dead. There you go. And I also like intel because a lot of squadrons have grit already. So if you're bringing those, I mean, there's really no point to bring an intel ship because it's not grit X. It's just grit. You don't get a boost to grit where you have to be engaged by 2 squadrons. It's none of that. Grit's just grit.
Right.
So I like it. I like this change a lot for squadrons, especially for just responding to a shitload heavy bomber wing. You know, how obnoxious is it to deal with 134 points of squadrons and they all have the bomber keyword, and then, oh, there it is, Janors. How am I going to deal with that?
It's like you can't do anything about it until you finally kill Janors.
And good luck. Good luck getting to Janors.
And the whole time they're bombing your ships, and you're like, what can I do? I can't do anything.
You can do nothing.
That's the answer. I can't do anything.
The only answer is to go as fast as you can to the carrier ships and kill them all.
Right.
And then you can win. But there's no middle ground for the previous incarnation of Intel. With this, you can at least bring 50 points of some squadrons. And if they all die, that's good. That's what they're there for.
Right.
Intel it used to just prevent any kind of interaction. So all your ships would be dead, but all your squadrons would still be alive. Your squadrons that were meant to be taking the hits and reducing the amount of interaction between your ship and fucking Merrick Steel.
Right.
So it's really one of the best changes for squadrons, and I'm excited to see how people build their lists now. And I mean, it's incredible.
We got a couple new keywords as well. Scout. While deploying fleet, you can be placed outside of deployment zones and do not need to be at distance 1 to 2 of a friendly ship, but you must be placed beyond distance 1 to 5 of enemy ships or squadrons. Really like this keyword. Really cute. I think for the Republic, the only way to give it is hyperspace rings.
Yeah, that's the only way to get Scout in the game right now.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I think this is because I think you had like fighter ambush in one of our games with hyperspace rings. Fleet ambush. And since you weren't able to place your squadrons, it didn't really help to have hyperspace rings because all my ships were down on the table. I think this is a lot better for objective play, and also not with an objective that prevents you from deploying your squadrons, because then it gives you control of where you can put them. Like if I just put one ship down and then you put 2 arcs, like, distance 1 to 5 away from my one ship that I have down. Well, now I don't want to put my shit next to the Arc 170s,
Right.
So I'll try and move it somewhere else.
We'll see how it works. I think Scout will be better when the Republic gets a strategic squadron, and then you can place them wherever you need to start moving objective tokens turn one. That would be really nice.
Strategic is a bullshit ability. It's stupid and it shouldn't be in the game. It's fucking stupid. Prove me wrong.
Tell me how you really feel.
No, it is. Tell me why strategic keyword is not stupid.
I don't know why.
What
do you think about screen?
Screen's okay. It feels like the reverse of like escort or something, where escort forces you to attack that particular squadron, but screen is like, if you attack me, you might not hit me, you know?
Right.
So it wants you to kill everything else.
But you don't have to.
You don't have to,
right?
Yeah. It's great. I think it's great. It's a great keyword. It feels cool, especially for separatists. I think it's only on Grievous and the Belva Labs, but it's great. That's it.
A lot of good changes for squadron keywords.
Yeah, for sure. Especially the intel changes. It really is. It was a dog shit ability to begin with. Shouldn't have been written like that to begin with. It was like that. It was like Relay when Relay first came out, and everyone was like, "You can do it from across the map." Everyone knew that was bullshit.
That's true. They did.
Everyone knew that was bullshit. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, that's the way the rule is written. But I think those both came out around the same time as Intel and Relay, right? Or no, Intel came out with Rogues and Villains.
Yep.
It was dog shit. I'm just saying.
All right. What about the pass token? What do you think about the pass token?
This is interesting because we've played a couple games with the new rules, and neither of us had pass token.
I had pass token.
Oh, you had one?
I had one pass token. Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is cool. I'm just not used to it.
The thing that's surprising to me is that the pass token is one-time use for the game.
Yeah.
It is not every turn refresh kind of ability. So a player with a Superstar Destroyer and another player with, 3, victories.
Mm-hmm.
If the ISD player is first player,
mm-hmm.
he gets 1 pass token.
Yeah.
If he's second player, he gets 2. And that's it. So it's a big nerf compared to Strategic Advisor or even just the base Superstar Destroyer before.
Where it gets to pass every turn.
Pass every single turn, right? Strategic Advisor lets you pass every single turn. It's really weak. It seems really weak.
It does seem really weak. My thing is, I'm fine with it being weak because I hated Strategic Advisor.
Same.
I hate cards that are the best in their slot. Strategic Advisor was best in slot. For sure, bar none. It was the best card in the officer slot. And I want to use other fucking officers. I don't want to have to do
fun things.
Yeah, that do fun things. Strategic Advisor is boring. It feels bad.
Yeah.
Especially when you have strategic.
I thought the pass token would be a way to give us the ability to have cool officers and still, make up for MSU versus large ships. And I feel like now we can't take the boring officers, but double ISD versus MSU is still going to be down a lot of activations. Now, pass tokens are most effective the turn where you're starting to get into range.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see if, even though it's basically 1 turn worth of it only gives you 1 turn of activation advantage equality, right?
Depending on the kind of fleet you're going up against. Like if I have double ISD and you've got 6 ships,
Let's say I have 6 Corvettes and you have 2 ISD and I'm first player, right? You get 4 pass tokens.
I can work with 4 pass tokens.
For 1 turn, you can have 6 activations. Just like
No,
me.
I don't think that's how that works. You have to have there's a specific rule that allows you to spend the pass tokens. Like you can't spend a pass token if in a consecutive turn And what was the other one? The first player may pass their turn to activate if they've activated at least one ship. And the number of unactivated ships remaining in the second player's fleet is greater than the first player's. So there's a limit how many times you can pass in one turn.
Oh, you cannot spend a pass token to pass 2 consecutive turns during the same round.
Yeah. So you can't just pass.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you can pass, then go, then pass again, then go. So you just get 2 extra activations. Because that would be busted.
Fair.
But I mean, it makes me consider taking double ISD. Like, maybe I'd try it instead of having to take 2 Gazantes just for the activation padding. But the problem with that is I think 2 Gazantes is really good to support 2 ISDs.
Beyond just the activation padding?
Beyond just the activation padding, yeah.
But it allows for more flexibility, right? It used to be that the 2 Gazantes were basically required, and now they're
I just
less
like
so.
I just like that there's something.
Right, I agree.
There's some rule that kind of makes up for it. I agree that it's weaker. I'm fine with it being weaker.
Yeah.
It's just Strategic Advisor was too damn good. I needed a really good reason not to take it. And if I wanted to play with an interesting officer, I had to take one ship that has Strategic Advisor, and then another ship can have the cool officer. So I'm glad that's done.
Do you want to talk about these cards, upgrade cards that can be readied, and tokens and dials on upgrade cards and all of that, and then we can do our last segment?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do.
What do you think about this tapping, untapping, ready mechanic on the upgrade cards?
Well, the tapping mechanic has always been in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been added to more things, and I like it a lot. Because there are some... I just don't like the cards that are always on. That are always amazing. Yeah. Like, Gunnery Teams was one of those cards that was, no matter what, I'm going to give you the double shot. Like, all you need to do is put 2 ships in front of me, and I got you. Now you need a concentrate command to make that happen. Much better. Because now there's some kind of interaction that you can have with your opponent. Like, what the fuck if they slicer tools you?
Right.
And now you got an engineering command.
Raid you.
Or they raid you, you know?
Raid? Trying to make raid good? What's this?
I don't know. It's still dog shit. At least the way it is. On the fucking gauntlets, please. But I like the iconography. It makes it more variable. Because the recur icon, it's got, the 2 arrows and then the non-recur. Mm-hmm. That's what I like to see. The non-recur. Yeah. The card that does it once. You tap it once. And then you've got to, resupply it. You have to pay the ready cost. Some kind of command token or any command token, depending on what the card is. And then you can ready it in the status phase. Those are great. Those really allow for, some powerful effects to be brought to the game. But you can use it once, and then you gotta spend a token, and it feels like you're doing stuff on the board. I'll spend my engineering token to, ready ECMs. If you guys don't know, ECM has non-recur now. So you've got to supply it with an engineering token. So you've got to use your engineering tokens out. Then you can ready your ECM after you've used it. But then, activate your Gazanti. Give it another engineering token, Oh, but if you do that, then are you going to activate your Gazanti first to make sure that you get that engineering token, make sure that it's in range? Or do you need to activate your ISD first and then, make sure it doesn't fucking die? But then maybe it's not in range of CommsNet because, I don't know, you're bad or something.
Don't use CommsNet now. Use parts resupply.
Parts resupply. But it's the same distance as CommsNet, really.
That's true. That's true.
It adds, like, I feel like I'm doing stuff instead of just having the best upgrades that always work. ECM used to always untap at the start. Now it doesn't. Now you've got to make sure that shit is on. Make sure your big ship is protected.
Right. There's more synergy you can build into your fleet when some parts of the fleet have to interact with other parts of the fleet to make their things work more regularly or more effectively, as opposed to just a card does what it does all by itself and it can't be any better or any worse.
And I think you've played it with the upgrade cards with the tokens or dials on the card a little more than I have. What do you think of those?
Love it.
Those seem awesome. Like they've got like a little supply bank of tokens on them, and you can make them either or, like a nav and some engineering's up to 5, like Bale.
Yeah, Bale's good. I use parts to resupply also, and dishing out the tokens all over the place was really awesome. It was really fun.
I love those. It feels like I'm having more decisions to make on when to take those tokens or what tokens to put on them, before the game starts, like Dooku, where you can have up to 3 command tokens on his little thing, and then you get rid of them and you give all the opponent ship's raid tokens for that command token. That's fucking cool. It's fucking cool.
Yep.
I love it. I wish they were doing
exciting
this shit
times
from the
for
start.
the game.
Yeah, exciting.
Are you ready for our bonus segment?
Yeah, I'm ready for the bonus segment.
So everyone's super excited about Clone Wars. We wanted to talk a little bit about the next wave of Clone Wars, which is supposed to be coming in like January, right?
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see about that. So we're supposedly getting 4 ships in Wave 1 of Clone Wars: the Pelta, the Venator, the Providence, and the Recusant. And since you put this in the show notes, what are you most excited for coming up? What ship?
The Recusant.
Why?
It looks fucking awesome. It looks like the baddest bitch submarine that's ever existed. It's literally like a space submarine, dude.
Yeah, it's cool looking.
It looks badass. But the reason I wanted to do this segment was I was watching Clone Wars again, rewatching it, and the Recusant pulled up next to a Venator and is like fucking longer than the Venator.
Right.
It's like I was watching it and I was like, is the Recusant going to be a fucking large base ship? And we're going to have, because the Providence for sure is going to be a large base ship.
Right.
But also the Recusant, like, are we going to have 2 large base ships for the Separatists, like, right out the gate?
I think the answer to that is yes.
Because that would be fucking crazy, right?
It'd be really cool. I know as an Imperial player, for a long time, you had 1.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what do you think? You said the Recusant. So beyond the fact that we're predicting a large base Recusant, what characteristics do you think will help define that ship in the Separatist faction?
Okay, first off, I'm more of an idea guy. I can't really, I don't know. Here's what I want on the Recusant. This is what I want. I want Admiral fucking Trench, bro.
Obviously.
Don't know what he's gonna do. He's gonna have some cool effect. He's a fucking G. I want the Recusant to be like similar to like the MC-75, where it wants to be close. It's got like blue-black dice.
Okay.
Maybe not a good squadron pusher. Blah blah blah.
Right.
Like Squadron 1 or something. I don't give a shit. I want it to smash. I want this to be the smashing ship. I want it to go speed 3. I want it to hit hard. I want to run in there and just roll black dice with ordnance experts. External racks. Yes, all of that.
Yeah. I would love to see some kind of nod to the ridiculously large gun underneath with either some kind of unique upgrade or title, or because that is a big cannon.
That is a big fucking
underneath.
cannon, dude.
Yeah, I think,
Or really, it can just be one fucking ship in the Separatist fleet that can use swivel mount batteries to some effect.
right.
You know?
Ignore the Republic restriction on swivel mount batteries. Boom.
Exactly.
Right. That'd be really cool.
But really, I don't predict this as much as being a squadron pusher. That I feel like we're going to get in the Providence. The Providence, I feel like, is going to be like the home one variant for the Separatists.
Like a big nasty broadsider
Big
with
nasty
a lot of squadron value.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I want, obviously, it's going to be Grievous Commander. Like,
unless they're saving him for Malevolence.
you mean the huge ship that's never going to come out?
Maybe.
You know, everyone can dream. But I don't think they're not going to hold back on Grievous from Providence. Like, that's his fucking ship.
Yeah, you might be right.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be right. And Grievous has got to have some text that says, when this ship is destroyed, move Grievous Commander to another ship at range 1 to 5.
Yeah, that would be great.
That is just the flavor, man. It's spicy.
Yeah. If you're listening, there's still time to add that to his card text, by the way.
So, now that I've gushed on about, look, it's so fucking cool to get 2 large base ships like that. In one wave?
We'll see, but yeah, it would be really cool.
Okay, anyway. Tell me about the Venator.
Bro, the Venator's a bad boy. So, I'm going to make a couple of predictions that we'll go a little bit deeper than you might expect.
Okay.
Obviously, there'll be 2 variants of this, just like there are of all ships. And I think one of them will be more squadron focused.
Obviously.
Right? This guy's known for being a carrier ship. I think that version will also have a... what's the name of the upgrades with like take evasive action, intensify firepower?
Fleet command.
I think that version will have a fleet command.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe double offensive and a fleet command upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like the Simon.
Yeah. And then the other one will be the like ISD-1, kind of like a bigger, nastier acclimator, kind of like, assault ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a smasher. And I think that they will have double officer slots. Because they have 2 bridges.
That would be fucking cool. But double officer is so strong, dude.
I know. And I think that will be the Venator's like unique claim to fame is like 2 bridges, 2 officers. Yeah.
That would be fucking cool.
Yeah.
Commander's got to be Anakin for sure.
Obviously Anakin and
Resolute title.
And an Ahsoka officer.
Fucking cool. That would be fucking cool.
And then we've got the Pelta, which I think is the oddball of these, right? First of all, it's the only one that appears like it's going to be a small base. It's
for sure
the only one that a ship already exists for. Right? There is already a Pelta in the Rebel faction. This one is obviously going to be a slightly different model.
Yeah.
But I would be surprised if this reflected the Rebel version too much. Like, I think it will have the same hull and the same shields and probably the same maneuvers.
Yeah.
Right? Because those are, I think, the things that FFG very rarely changes about a ship. It's like the base characteristics of it, like engines, shields, health, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna look at this and be like, oh my god, yes, like crazy squadron pushing and a fleet command upgrade. Like, I don't know. I don't see it. I think they're gonna go in a slightly different direction with this version of the Pelta. I don't know what that is. But that I would be surprised if this was just Rebel Pelta with slightly different model, but like
especially
the same
when
kind
you've
of
got
upgrades.
Like squadron pushers already, like the Acclimator, and now the Venator, which for sure is going to push squadrons. But
right,
I feel like
another squadron pushers, like everything pushes squadrons. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like this Pelta is going to be more of like a medical frigate variant, where maybe its armament is like significantly less. And it might be a lot cheaper than the Rebel Pelta. And it's more on like, it's got certain officers that allow it to support. It'll be like a bulkier support ship,
I would love to see a Pelta that's out there. Like, I think the Republic right now only has the option of one ship with the fleet support upgrade.
Yeah,
Maybe there's a Pelta variant that has fleet support
that would be great.
and a title that you want to bring as like a better version of like redemption from the Nebulon B, right?
Yeah,
Something that's sending tokens everywhere or feeding shields or flipping cards and whatever the hell, changing dials like Leia. And then I would also be interested. Now, this would be pretty wild in my opinion, but like, okay, you've got that version, and then the other version is like the closest a Pelta could get to like a Gladiator or an MC-30, right? Like a torpedo frigate Pelta, I think would be really cool. Or maybe just like a red dice Pelta that wants to be, more like like a Architon's version of a Pelta kind of thing.
That would be cool. I think we would see that before we see a Gladiator type Pelta, because you've already got the Consular Armed Frigate, and that thing is pretty nasty.
I mean, it's no MC-30, but I see what you mean.
But we're talking about the Pelta and how it can be like a super supporty kind of ship with the fleet support icon.
Yeah.
But the way they changed the wording, or not really changed it, but added the wording for flotillas, makes me wonder, like, do you think we'll ever see like a medium or large base flotilla?
No.
No. I think that would be super cool.
Do you think we'll ever see another flotilla?
Yes, we will, for sure.
I'm not convinced, but we'll see.
I'm convinced. Dude, we're for sure getting those H-shaped landing craft from the Separatists.
You think so?
For sure! For sure.
Mm. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, the C-9979s.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure they're coming in as flotillas. For the Republic, I have no idea what flotilla they would get,
Right. There's nothing that was quite big enough that we saw, really.
No.
But also, they've invented stuff before, so I wouldn't mind if they did so again.
Yeah. Look, it's some good shit. I'm ready for Wave 1 already. Well, like, there's just so many holes in, like, the fleet.
For sure.
Fleet building. I just want more officers. I want more options.
I'm ready for Wave 1, and I'm ready for Wave 2 to be Squadron Pack 2 and one ship for each faction.
Oh, yeah. But we already know, like, what the Squadron Pack is going to be. But, like,
right.
What kind of keywords do you think they'll have for them? Do you think they'll add, like, rogues to Squadron Pack 2?
No.
No? Because they had some rogues in Squadron Pack 2 for Rebel Empire, right? I think they'll have one rogue for each of them.
I mean, maybe, but I think that they're trying not to print more rogues. I don't know. I think there definitely will be rogues that the Republic and the Empire can play with. Otherwise, they will never have faction parity with the OT.
No, I think it's going to, like, the infiltrator for sure is going to have rogue.
Yeah, for sure.
But what about the Republic? Did they get a fucking... Lats aren't going to be rogue.
No. They're going to be like VCXs, right?
Yeah.
The only thing I could think of is I don't know. I think that maybe a Clone Wars version of rogues and villains would have that, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you could get like Asajj's weird solar sailing ship. You could get the Twilight.
Cad Bane's ship.
Right, like that kind of stuff, Django or whatever, and that would have rogue on it, and they'll keep it mostly away from the, like, truly faction-oriented squadrons, like Adas and V-Wings and Lats, and I don't think those are going to get rogue, unless it's something on, like, an Anakin and Obi-Wan thing.
Maybe.
But I think that they can make Anakin and Obi-Wan really good without that.
I think one squadron in the Squadron Pack 2 will have a rogue, at least.
I mean, yeah, one wouldn't be crazy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of named squadrons to add, I think, because, like, the Rebels and the Empire have so many options. And right now it's like very few for the Republic. So I think Squadron Pack 2 is a high priority for them.
Yeah.
Because once you get to, like, okay, if you have 5 different ships and two different waves of squadron packs. Like, you can start feeling like, okay, the Republic and the Separatists are fully formed for the most part, able to put together a lot of variety in their list building, and we can start moving forward, right?
I don't feel like we'll get to like a done status until like wave 5 at least.
Yeah, not done, but at least like fully playable. I think, right, like, yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll take until wave 2. I agree, because that was when the ISD came out, right? The ISD Home 1 was wave 2, right?
Yeah.
That was when it really felt like you were playing the faction.
I think it will after wave 1 for these factions, just because the iconic ships are in them. But
I agree.
You know, just for list building variety, like, you know, that'll happen later. All right, well, that's our show. See you guys next time.
Yep.
Or do we want to just roll into the episode?
Well, let's talk about your unboxing. I thought that one was good. I'm kind of worried about mine because it was so awkward because you fucking left me alone.
So I did mine by myself.
Because I wasn't over there. You got your shit before I did.
But I still wouldn't have talked to you.
Why?
I don't think. I don't know. It's weird.
Why is that weird?
It's weird.
That makes it
I just
better.
think it's weird.
Why is that weird to talk to me about the shit that we're getting?
Because it's like talking to a off-camera spooky person.
I'm off camera anyway.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe you should have been on camera.
No, I've sworn the creed. I can't appear on camera.
I have sworn the creed. You're trying to build a cult of personality around your voice. No one can see your face.
No. For that, I would use your voice. I can't build a
Why?
cult around because your voice is so much better for that.
What?
Yeah. Do you know I listen to the podcast to fall asleep, but only your sections. I cut myself out and I make personal.
No, you're full of shit.
Yeah.
You're full of shit.
Yeah.
No, that's bullshit.
So after editing,
I'm gonna ask Sarah.
I just listen to you, and you're like.
Nobody listens to my voice to fall asleep.
And then I just like drift away, and I'm just like, oh, it's like the old radio host voices. It's like,
You're so full of shit.
No.
Okay, I'm ready to start the episode because I can't handle that anymore.
Okay.